Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to check out Lanterns the Harvest Festival. It's a game for 2 to 4 players for ages 8 and up, with the average playtime being about 30 minutes. In this game, players take on the role of these artisans who are going to be putting these lanterns down in specific patterns in order to decorate the Palace Lake. Well, it's at heart a tile laying game, okay? And basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be laying these tiles down. People will be getting these cards of a particular color based on the tiles that are put on the table, and then they're going to be turning those cards in order to get honor, and the player with the most honor at the end of the game will win. So without further ado, let's take a quick look at the components and see how the game is played. Alright, so here's a very brief look at your components. You've got some lake tiles here, and as you can see, there are different colors on the different sides of these lake tiles. This is your starting lake tile here, and again, players will be placing these onto the table in order to earn these lantern cards. And these lantern cards come in different colors. You've got like red, you've got orange, you've got green, blue. They are double-sided, but they're the same on both sides. The color is what's really important here. And again, players will be earning these depending on how these tiles are placed. You've got some favor tokens here, and players can earn these throughout the game and then spend them in order to perform a special action. You've got the first player marker here, this little ship. And then you've got these dedication tokens. Players will be turning in sets of these cards in order to earn these dedication tokens. And there's more in the box there. I didn't lay them all out for you. But there's 3 different colors: green, red, and blue. Now, game setup will look a little something like this. I have everything sort of truncated so that it could fit all into one camera shot. It's also worth mentioning that game setup will vary depending on the number of players. A lot of these dedication tokens, the number of lake tiles that you use, the number of lantern cards that you use, that will all depend on the number of players playing the game. I'm not going to get into those details, but I will say that whenever you are setting up the game, and you're looking at which dedication tokens to remove from the game based on the number of players, there are little red dots on some of these tiles to tell you, okay, this has 4 dots on it, so that is used in a 4-player game. I'm setting up the game for 2 players here. There's 1 player here and 1 player here, so this tile wouldn't be used. There's 3 dots on this one, indicative of a 3-player game, and again, this is 2 players, so these 2 wouldn't be used. And it's also worth mentioning that I did not completely set up these stacks. I didn't feel like going through the stacks and setting them up completely. This is just for example purposes. The starting tile is placed in the center of the table, and the red part will point toward the first player. So this player will be going first. The first player then gets this boat to, remind them, hey, this person is the starting player. And players will receive a lantern card of the color of whatever color is facing them off the starting tile. So you've got red here pointing this way. This player receives red. This blue part of this tile is pointing that way. So this player receives the blue lantern tile. And it's very important that 2, 3, and 4 players, when you're playing that, you're going to want players to be sitting 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here, or make sure that you're directly across from one another, or that you're sitting at like 90-degree angles, because the positioning of these tiles and the way the colors are facing are very important as you play the game. Each player gets 3 of these lake tiles to form their starting hand, and you'll lay out the lantern cards by color to form the supply up here, and of course you've got your favor tokens over here on the left. So this game is broken up over a series of turns, and on a player's turn they can do 3 things. One of them is mandatory, the other 2 are optional. The 2 optional actions are exchanging a lantern card and making a dedication. Again, those 2 things are optional. I'll cover those in a minute. The most important one, the mandatory one, is placing a lake tile. You'll have to do that on your turn. And to do that, you just simply look at your hand, and you'll place it somewhere adjacent to an existing one. Now, the colors do not have to match, though it's in your best interest to do so, and I'll explain in a minute. Let's say that this player wanted to do this, and as you can see, these colors are not matching. Now, the way this works, the players will receive a lantern card. All players, not just the active player. The players in this game will receive a lantern card of the color that is facing them. In this case, you've got green facing this way, so this player would receive a green lantern card, and the active player would receive one of these purple lanterns. Now, if you happen to place a tile in such a way where the colors match. Not only does the active player get the color facing them, in this case it's green, they also get a red one in this case. Whatever color is matching, they also get a bonus lantern card of that color. This player over here would receive the black one, and this active player would receive a green one and a red one for matching these two colors here. Now, some of these lake tiles actually have these little symbols, or they're called platforms, on them. And basically, whenever you happen to match tiles like this red touching red, whenever a player does this, they, in addition to getting bonus lantern cards, in this case, this player would get one red for the red facing them, one bonus red one for matching these two red ones here, but because this one has a platform on it, they also get a favor token. A player will earn one favor token for each matching tile with a platform on it. One final thing to note about the whole collecting lantern cards thing. The lantern cards are collected in clockwise order, starting with the active player. So whenever this player does end up playing a tile here, he'll collect his first, then this player over here, if there was a player over here, would get a lantern card, then this player would get a lantern card, and this player would get a lantern card. If it just so happens that the supply is out of that particular color, then they do not get any at all. Okay, so with that in mind, I want to briefly go over the other two optional actions that you can take on your turn. And it's worth noting that you have to perform these two optional actions first before you can get to your mandatory action. The first one that you have to perform first is exchange a lantern card. And the way that works, let's say that this player had like 3 favor tokens. You can exchange 2 favor tokens to give up a card back to the supply in order to take one. So let's say that this player wanted to give up a purple one so that he can get a green one. And that's pretty much it for that. The second action, again, this is optional, make a dedication. In order to win the game, you need to get honor. And to get honor, you have to claim these tokens. Now, the requirements for collecting these tokens are different depending on the color. The green one, you need 7 cards, 1 of every color. For this blue one here, 6 cards, 2 each of any of the 3 different colors. So you could do like 2 red, 2 orange, and 2 green like I have here. And then third and finally, you've got the red here. 4 cards, all the same color. So basically 4 of a kind. And then whenever one stack happens to run out, you can still claim that dedication of that color. Like if this red were out, I could still do 4 of a kind. However, I'd have to take this generic color here. And there's 3 of those tiles. But just to quickly show what that looks like, I would return these cards back to the supply to claim this blue one here again. It's basically 3 sets of 2 cards. So I exchanged those 3 sets in. I can grab the top one here. And again, these numbers will go in descending order. So the more tokens you take of a particular color, the less they're worth. And that's basically all there is to it. Players will continue taking turns until the lake tiles run out, in which case players will take one final turn and then go back to the starting player. That way everyone has an equal number of turns. That way they can make any last-minute dedications that they want to, and so on and so forth, in order to get honor. And then the player with the most honor at the end of the game will win. So what did I think of Lanterns? Well, I think this is an excellent game. I like the fact that the tiles will award players lantern cards no matter whose turn it is. So it keeps everyone engaged throughout the entire game. In games like Alhambra, where each of you has your own city that you're trying to build, you're usually sitting there in between turns going like this, waiting for someone else to figure out what tile they want to pick and then where to put it in their Alhambra. In this game, you don't have to worry about that. Again, players will stay active throughout. It's very colorful. All of the colors are fantastic. And I like the fact that there are different lanterns on the different colors. So colorblind folks may not be able to make out some of these colors, but at least you'll be able to tell the difference between the colors based on the picture of the lantern on these cards. And also, the same thing can be said on these tiles here. Like the black, I know you guys can't see it because of the distance here, but the black ones they have like a little plus symbol. The blue ones have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. So it's like shaped like a hexagon, sort of, with lines in the middle. And you've got like a star pattern with the white. The red ones look like triangles, and they match the shape on here. So even though the game is extremely colorful, there are steps that are taken to assist with color blindness, and I really, really like that. So honestly, I think this is an excellent game. It definitely combines the whole tile laying and set collecting genres just wonderfully, and I highly recommend it. I think the price on Amazon is like 20 or 25, something like that. Don't quote me on it, because the price will change depending on who's selling it. And on top of that, I'm old and I don't have a photographic memory. But do I recommend Lanterns? Yes. If you guys want to see my written review, you can. www.dadsgamingaddiction.com. If you haven't already, subscribed to my YouTube channel. That way you can keep up to date with any new content I happen to publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.